Hey guys, Jonathan here at Shadow Foam, and today we're revisiting the French Cleat power tool wall behind me. We've had these two blank panels for a few weeks now, and I think it's about time we did something with them. So if you've not seen this power tool wall, it's all French Cleat, all of these panels lift off, and it's gone down a storm, and we've had some great ideas in the comments of what to do with these two blank panels. The one idea that was the most common was put the chargers in there, which I think we're gonna do. We're gonna put the two twin chargers on there, and that's gonna be really handy, but I think we can level it up. Another commenter suggested whiskey, which I really do like, and we have done a whiskey build in the past, and I think this is the perfect opportunity to make a secret whiskey bar. So we can hinge this down, have some whiskey in there. I think it's gonna look awesome. So let's get it off the wall, let's get it started. Right, so the frame's off the wall, I've taken it apart, and I think I've come up with an idea that's gonna help us build this secret drinks cabinet. Let me show you. Right, so I've got a pretty good idea of what I want to do. Let me show you the plan. So we're going to use the frame that we've already got, and we're basically going to split the two panels apart. The rear panel we'll put back on the wall, so that'll be mounted on the French Cleat as normal, and we'll be able to put a 50mm piece of foam in there, and we can cut all of our whiskey bottles in. So that's the first part of the puzzle, which should be quite simple. And then that's a pretty dodgy whiskey bottle, that is, but it gets the idea across. I don't know how many we're going to fit in there. But then the front panel, we're going to basically put that on the front like this and create like a fold down tray. So we're going to need some chains to go left and right so that when it folds down it kind of sits horizontally, and we'll need something to mount those in place. We'll also need some hinges, some sort of piano hinge or some fixed hinges we can have along here so it can fold up, and then when it folds up we need some sort of latch mechanism to hold it in place. So that's all that sorted. If it's solid enough, we can then mount our two chargers on the front. So we probably need like a quite sturdy piece of MDF to function as a panel in that plate there, so then we can mount the chargers to it. Once we've mounted the chargers, we can drill a hole, thread the cables through and hide those, so it should look quite a nice clean setup. We'll have the chargers on the front, which are functional, and we'll have all of the whiskey inside. So all I need is some chains, some hinges, a bit of MDF and some latches. Let's head off to B&Q. Do me? That'll do. Right, so I've got everything I need from B&Q. I got a 12mm sheet of MDF, and that should be enough to make a panel to go in there and then some rails to go around the side of each frame. So that is perfect. I also picked up 3 of these, they're called double roller catches, but essentially like a press fit catch. So you sometimes have them on kitchen doors and you give it a bit of a pull to free up the door, which should be good with this because that way it'll be an invisible latch, and then you just pull on it and it'll come down, so it'll keep that secret aspect of it, which I quite like. I've got some of these back flap hinges, which don't know why they're called back flap hinges. All I can see them as is a 50mm deep hinge. So basically we can get 2 screws in the back, 1 in the front, and we can put a bit of MDF in here so the screws have got some meat to hold into. That should be pretty good. Then we've got some little eyelets, and these are to go left and right, and then we can use the chain. This is like the finest chain that, the finest of chains, this is. The smallest chain that they had from B&Q, but it should be substantial enough to have a piece on this side, on that side, and then we'll have a pretty solid little flat surface, which is great. I think that's all we need. All we've got to do now is get the SKIL saw out and chop this into 1 large panel for the back and then a bunch of rails. Once we've chopped that all up, I can put it all together roughly and you'll be able to see the concept come to life. So let's get cutting. That is pretty silky smooth, that is. That cuts so nicely. Right, so that's all the MDF cut, and I did wear a mask this time for all you diligent commenters who let me know the dangers of cutting MDF without a mask on in the last video, so thank you to you guys. I wore a mask this time, have no fear. It's all cut, and what we've done is we've added a layer to this. This is the front section, so we've got our foam in the front, 30mm, And then behind that, we've got a piece of MDF, a panel basically, which is pinned in place. The side rails, we just use some mitre glue. So this is a bit of a top tip. It's really quick drying glue. I love it. So basically a line of the glue, push it in place, and then you spray the activator on, and it means you don't need to clamp it. It pretty much sets instantly, and we fix those in. They're really solid, and that's going to hold them in place until we put a couple of screws through. And also when we fold it down, that's a nice tabletop, which I'm really happy with. And we've done the exact same with the back panel. So this has got the French cleat on it. This is going to hang on the wall. We can put foam in there.
That's right, foam.
Straight away, the concept is quite clear. That's what it's going to look like on the wall. No different to the others. We're going to have the two chargers on the front, and then it will fold down and be a lovely little bar with some whiskey in it. So I think what we're going to do now is all the hardware. So we'll put the hinges on, we'll do the chains on the sides, and we'll do the catches on the top. Right, so it's on the wall. It looks really good. It's exactly what we were shooting for, which is you can't tell. You can't tell what's going on with it. It looks the exact same as the others, or it looks exactly the same as it did do, but it hinges down and we now have a compartment in there, so we can put some 50mm foam, we can put some bits in there. That's really cool. The one negative is these catches are pants. That's basically it. They are pants. They really are weak. They clip in, and we've got them all lined up nicely, but the slightest bit of pressure and it falls. So we're going to switch those out, and we do have a couple of catches here that will work. These are like traditional box clasps, so I think we're going to go for these. At the end of the day, there's going to be chargers on the front of these, and I'd much prefer to have the chargers on there nice and solid and not any risk of them falling off. So we're going to upgrade the weird little friction catches inside to two of these solid clasps, and then we know it's reliable then. So let's do that. You're in the video now. Serious. Serious, Sean.
No turning back now.
Right, so it's the end of the day. We'll leave that to dry and we'll see what it's like in the morning.
The next day.
Right, so that's all dry and it looks really good. I'm happy with that. I also sprayed this section here because the foam's going to be sat in here, so it's going to hide most of it, but the top ridge is better looking black, so I'm really happy with that. I think all we'll do now is give it a coat of lacquer and then we can get some foam in it. Right, so while that's drying, let's cut the foam. So I've already slit a sheet down to size, and I've done that from a medium sheet, so it's pretty easy. Just use a long straight edge and we've cut it down. And I pulled out some of the whiskey bottles, some of the blended whiskies out of my stash, which is, if you've not seen that, that's one of our old school builds. And I went to Tesco's and picked up a bottle of this Woodford Reserve, and I kind of feel like that's enough there. And it's a good mix. We've got some blended whiskies, and we've got these bourbons down here, which are quite cool. Let me know in the comments your favourite tipple. Is it a malt? I know in the UK, malt whiskey is really popular. Well, around the world it is, isn't it? But for me, I usually put it with a mixer, with Coke or something. So let's get them all cut in. Right, so there we are, cut them all in. Now the bigger bourbon bottles here at the bottom, they are 50mm or 55mm wide, so I've had to cut all the way through the foam for these three, and that is pretty much as simple as it sounds. You literally just place it where you want it to go, cut all the way around, and then keep cutting until you've gone all the way through. These kind of smaller bottles, what are these? These are like 35 centilitre bottles. These are thinner, they're at 35mm, so I've been able to peel back layers. So it's really simple, cutting shadow foam. You literally place it where you want it to go. You use the scalpel that comes in our basic cutting kits. You cut around the item, you're using it like a pencil. You're literally capturing the silhouette of the bottle on the foam. You're not cutting very deep. Once you've cut all the way around, you take the item out of the way and then you cut deeper. So for a 35mm deep bottle like this, we want to cut minimum 35mm, but really about 40mm. We want to cut past the point where we want to peel. So we do that, we can make a little mark on the side of the scalpel just to give us a visual reference of how deep we want to go. Once we've cut to the right depth all the way around, we've met back up with ourselves, you can then push your finger down the side and peel back foam. Now you can do it layer by layer, but what I like to do is just push my finger down as far as I can and peel back, 3 or 4 layers in one go. And there we go. I can see I need a little bit more depth there, so I'll peel back another layer. And then it's not quite as smooth as I'd like it, so I'm gonna get one of our smoothing spinners. Just put it in any impact gun. I've got a SKIL impact gun here. You can just whiz that along the bottom and that'll just kind of smooth out any lumps and bumps. And those spinners will go in any drill, any kind of Dremel tool, anything that's like a rotary tool it'll work with. So there we go. That's all the foam cut. Let's go and have a look how the frame is doing. Right, that's all dry and it's looking really good as well. Let's go and put the foam in it. So there we have it, it's on the wall. This is the exact same as it started off this morning. And there we have it. Pretty good impact piece, I think. Secret little compartment there with the whiskey in. Absolutely loving it. We've got the chains left and right, which are gonna hold this so you can put a little bit of weight on it without having to worry too much. And then we've got the whiskey cut in the foam, which was all really good. All we'll do now is take it back off the wall and we'll put the chargers on the front. So it'll be a case of cutting the charger in, so I've cut the chargers into the foam. On the top here, we've got a 30mm piece of red foam, which is kind of sat behind the lip on the front of the frame. So I've already kind of cut these in. It took a lot of measuring. It's quite critical with something like this, a square object. It would be really obvious if it was wonky. So I kind of measured about 10 times, got it perfectly in the center and then squared the two off each other and they look great. So now they're cut into the foam. I can see the MDF plate behind. So I'm gonna have to put 2 screws which are kind of like locate on the 2 mounting screws on here. So a bit of a top tip, rather than having to measure it like 100 times and trying to figure it out, you can get a piece of paper and a pencil, and as long as you don't move it, you can just do a little bit of a rubbing. Another tip is to photocopy this, but I don't have a photocopy handy, but I do have a pencil and a bit of paper. So I can just do a little rubbing like this, and you can see already the 2 screw holes. And then rather than having to measure anything out, I can literally just place that there and put 2 screws in, which is going to make that easier. So we'll do that. I've also got to drill a hole through, and then I'll be cutting the plug off the cable, drilling a hole, threading it through, threading it out the bottom, and then putting another plug on it so it can plug straight in there and it'd be nice and clean, no wires kind of hanging anywhere. So that's the job. Let's get on with it. And there we have it. Charging station is all finished off. I've got the cables routed behind the panel and then they come out of the bottom here. I've cut the cables off a little bit shorter so I don't have loads of spare cable. Put new plugs on and it's all done. It's all working and the chargers are fitted really solid. I've only used the 2 mounting holes on both of them, but they're really solidly in there. And even if you lie it down or if you pull the tray down, they're still fixed nice and solid underneath. So I'm really pleased with that. The whiskey station is looking mint. I love this table. It's really sturdy. And I think that is one of my favorite builds. Let me know in the comments what you think. And would you put whiskey in this? Because now it's built, I kind of feel like this could be a pretty cool secret snack station, or even from a practical point of view, this could have been all of the blades, jigsaw blades, bits, drills, all that kind of stuff that's a bit messy and maybe you want it hidden away. Let me know in the comments what you would do with one of these if you were going to build one, and what is your favourite whiskey. I'm interested to know, is it bourbon or blended scotch, or maybe it's something else? If you enjoyed this build, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we've got another one over here. We've got another blank panel here. We're going to do something amazing with it, I'm sure. I welcome any ideas and suggestions, so let me know any ideas you've got in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss this build, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you liked that video, why not check out some of our others? We've got new videos coming out every week. And Colin Furs, what's the quickest way for people to see these videos?
Subscribe.